There are nights when you go to bed feeling just okay, not especially happy, not particularly sad, just quiet, dot. The house is still, dot. You brush your teeth, turn off the lights, pull the covers up, maybe you check your phone. One last time, nothing much on your mind. That's exactly how I felt the other night. Nothing out of the ordinary, a regular evening. But what happened next, I still can't explain. I had a dream about my wife, my late wife. She's been gone for years now. But in this dream, she was there, dot alive, dot laughing, dot her eyes were bright, then her hands were exactly how I remember, dot warm, dot familiar. And the dream wasn't hazy or strange like dreams usually are. No, this one was star clear, star, almost too real. We were sitting on the porch, like we used to do on summer evenings. She was wearing that soft blue sweater she always liked. That everything was okay. When I woke up, I sat up in bed, blinking at the ceiling, and for a moment, I genuinely believed she was still here. I even looked toward the other side of the bed, expecting to see her. But of course, it was empty. Now, I know how strange this might sound. Maybe you've had a dream like that too, one that shook you to your core, one that made you question whether it was just your mind or something more. What do we do with a dream like that? Was it just a memory? Or was she visiting? That one dream opened a door I didn't know was still there. And I'd like to take you through it with me. Let's talk about what these dreams really mean and why they often come when we least expect them. The dream began so gently. I didn't even realize I was dreaming at first. I was standing in the kitchen, our old kitchen, not the renovated one we had later. Light was golden, like it gets in the early evening, oft comforting. The window over the sink was cracked open, and I could hear birds outside, the kind of quiet bird song that makes a house feel alive. And then she was just there. My wife, standing by the counter like she'd never left. Wearing that faded blue cardigan she always wrapped around her shoulders when it got chilly. Her hair was tucked behind her ear, the way she used to do without thinking. And her face, God, her face. So calm, so full of love. She looked right at me and smiled. Not a dramatic moment, not a flash of light, just a smile. The same one she'd given me 1,000 times over our years together. I walked over to her, and as I got closer, I could actually smell her perfume. Lavender and a hint of lemon. The same scent that used to linger on her pillow even after she was gone. And then she spoke. Her voice sounded just like I remembered. Gentle, steady, with that little lilt at the end of her sentences that always made her sound like she was about to laugh. She said, "You've been doing okay. I see you." I didn't answer right away. I just stood there, soaking it all in. Then I asked, question mark, this real? She smiled again and said, "Does it matter?" We didn't say much more. We didn't need to. There was no sadness, no fear, just peace. I felt completely safe, completely seen, like being wrapped in a warm memory that was somehow more than a memory. And when I woke up, I didn't feel shaken or scared. I felt comforted, like I'd been given a gift, like she had stopped by, not as a ghost, not as a dream, but as herself. Have you ever had a moment like that? A dream that felt more like a visit? Something that left you wondering if maybe, just maybe, the people we love find ways to reach us? Whether it was real or not, I carry that feeling with me now. It changed something in me. It softened the weight of missing her. Ooh. It reminded me that love doesn't just vanish. It lingers in our hearts, in our senses, and sometimes even in our dreams. The dream began so gently, I didn't even realize I was dreaming at first. I was standing in the kitchen, our old kitchen, not the renovated one we had later. Light was golden, like it gets in the early evening. Comforting. We were all the most 5 years. The window over the sink was cracked open, and I could hear birds outside. The kind of quiet bird song that makes a house feel alive. And then, she was just there. My wife, standing by the counter like she'd never left. Wearing that faded blue cardigan she always wrapped around her shoulders when it got chilly. Her hair was tucked behind her ear the way she used to do without thinking. And her face. God, her face. So calm, so full of love. She looked right at me and smiled. Not a dramatic moment, not a flash of light, just a smile. The same one she'd given me 1,000 times over our years together. I walked over to her, and as I got closer, I could actually smell her perfume, lavender and a hint of lemon. The same scent that used to linger on her pillow, even after she was gone. And then she spoke. Her voice sounded just like I remembered, gentle, steady, with that little lilt at the end of her sentences that always made her sound like she was about to laugh. She said, "You've been doing okay. I see you." I didn't answer right away. I just stood there, soaking it all in. Then I asked, "Is this real?" She smiled again and said, "Does it matter?" We didn't say much more. We didn't need to. There was no sadness, no fear, just peace. I felt completely safe, completely seen, like being wrapped in a warm memory that was somehow more than a memory. And when I woke up, I didn't feel shaken or scared. I felt comforted, like I'd been given a gift, like she had stopped by, not as a ghost, not as a dream, but as herself. Have you ever had a moment like that? A dream that felt more like a visit? Something that left you wondering if maybe, just maybe, the people we love find ways to reach us? Whether it was real or not, I carry that feeling with me now. It changed something in me. It softened the weight of missing her. It reminded me that love doesn't just vanish. It lingers, dash in our hearts, dash in our senses, dash band, and sometimes even in our dreams. When I opened my eyes that morning, the room felt different. The sunlight was slipping through the blinds, casting faint lines across the floor, and the air was still. Butler, My heart was racing. For just a split second, I thought she was still there. That if I turned my head, I'd see her sitting on the edge of the bed or walking back from the kitchen with a cup of coffee in her hand. But, of course, the other side of the bed was empty. Just the pillow, a little sunken from where she used to sleep. And I remember staring at it for a while, longer than I'd like to admit, half expecting it to move. That's when I felt it, the wetness on my cheek. I reached up and realized the pillow under me was damp with tears. I didn't even know I'd been crying. It wasn't a loud kind of sadness, not the kind that comes with sobs or shouting. It was quiet, like something had gently been taken away, right when I'd started to believe it was real. A strange mix of peace and heartbreak. I sat up and whispered, almost without thinking, "She was just here." It felt so vivid, so real. I could still smell her scent, hear the exact tone of her voice, and my chest ached. Not from grief exactly, but from this aching closeness, like she had been within reach and then wasn't. And I know what some people might say, it was just a dream, but I don't know. Was it? That question has stayed with me. Was it just a dream or something more? I have something. It's not the first time I've heard stories like this. A friend of mine once told me about dreaming of his brother who passed suddenly. In the dream, his brother hugged him and said, "I'm okay now." And he woke up with that same feeling, like something had shifted, like a weight had been lifted. So I wonder, could it be that love doesn't follow the same rules we do? That even after death, the people we love find a way back to us, if only for a moment. Maybe through dreams, maybe through feelings we can't quite explain. Whatever it was, it left me changed. And maybe, just maybe, these dreams aren't just dreams. Maybe they're reminders that the people we've loved and lost aren't really gone, that they're still close, key losers than we think. After that morning, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I kept wondering, was it only my mind trying to comfort me? Or did something real happen? Was she really there? So I started looking into it, quietly at first. A few articles, a couple of late-night videos, some books that had gathered dust on grief in the afterlife. That's when I came across a term I hadn't heard before. Visitation dreams. It stopped me in my tracks. These aren't just ordinary dreams where people from our past show up in random, fuzzy ways. Visitation dreams are different. They're vivid, peaceful, and strangely real. Often more real than waking life. They often come when we're not expecting them, in moments of calm or quiet, and they leave behind this deep, emotional imprint. One that stays with you for days, weeks, even years. And I realized I wasn't alone. I read about Susan, a 74-year-old woman who lost her husband of over 40 years.
I did feel like, I'm sure that
One night, she dreamed he came back, took her hand, and said simply, "You're stronger than you think." She said when she woke up, she felt like she'd actually been touched. like the warmth was still in her palm. Then there's Thomas, 81 years old. He told his daughter about a dream where he saw his late wife sitting in their garden. She didn't say a word, just smiled at him. Dash, peaceful, dot, present. Dash, he said it felt more like a quiet visit than a dream. And I've heard so many more. Some people try to explain these dreams as the brain processing grief. Others believe it's the soul, reaching across time and space to reassure, to comfort, to remember. Honesty, I think it could be both. Honestly, I think it could be both. Maybe the mind is helping us heal, or maybe love is just too strong to be limited by death. Maybe there are moments, brief and beautiful, when that love breaks through the veil and reminds us, I'm still with you. You don't have to believe in ghosts or the supernatural to feel it, dot. You just have to believe in the possibility that love, real, deep love, has a longer reach than we think. So, whether it was my imagination or something greater, I know this, that dream brought me peace. And if you've ever had one like it, maybe it's because someone you loved wanted you to feel that peace too.
You know, even after someone's gone, they don't really leave all at once. They leave behind traces, quiet reminders scattered throughout your life. Not loud or dramatic, just little things that sneak up on you. For me, Dash, it's her old cardigan. It's still hanging in the back of the closet, tucked behind my winter coats. I haven't worn it, I haven't washed it, I don't even touch it much. But sometimes, when I open that door, I catch it. That scent, her scent. It's faint now, but it's still there. Lavender with the tiniest hint of vanilla. Like she's still here, slipping into the kitchen to make tea, or humming while folding the laundry. And then there's the chair, the one by the window in the living room. She used to sit there every morning, reading the paper, sipping her coffee slowly, like she had all the time in the world. The cushion's a little sunken on one side. I've thought about moving it, rearranging things, changing the room, but I never do. That chair belongs to her, dot. It still feels like her space. Some evenings I'll glance over and, just for a heartbeat, I half expect to see her there, dot. Legs curled up, glasses sliding down her nose, lost in a book. I know she's not, but somehow I feel her. These things, an old dress folded in a drawer, a favorite mug in the cupboard, a certain song on the radio, aren't just objects, they're echoes. Echoes of a life shared, of laughter in the kitchen, of quiet nights spent side by side. And sometimes they whisper to you in ways you can't explain. I remember one moment clearly. I was doing dishes, not thinking about anything at all. And suddenly, that lavender scent filled the air. No open window, no air freshener. Nothing around me had changed. I just froze. I didn't want to move. I whispered, "Are you here?" Maybe it was just memory, or maybe it was more than that. Sometimes, I think our loved ones leave behind more than memories. They leave a feeling, a presence, a softness in the air. And if we're quiet enough, still enough, we notice it. Mom, they may not be in the room the way they once were, but in 100 quiet ways, they're still here. In what they touched, in what they loved, and in the hearts they never really left. For a long time, I thought dreams like that were just a byproduct of grief, just my heart aching in its own quiet way. But now, I'm not so sure. Because that dream, seeing her, hearing her voice, feeling her hand in mine, it didn't leave me with sadness. It left me with comfort. Like I'd been told something without words. Like she wanted me to know she's okay too. It felt like a message. Not the kind you read in a letter, but the kind you feel deep in your chest. A message that says, I haven't gone far. I still see you. And maybe that's what these dreams really are. Not just echoes of memory, but little visitations, gentle reminders that love doesn't end when someone dies. It changes form. It softens into something spiritual. Something we carry inside us. Maybe love doesn't disappear. It just transforms. Since that dream, I've noticed something else. I'm less afraid. Not of being alone. Not of growing older. Not even of dying someday. Because if she could find her way back to me, even for a moment, maybe that means none of us are ever truly lost. Maybe love always knows the way home. I sleep better now too. Not every night, but more often. There's less of that heavy ache that used to sit in my chest before bed. In its place, there's something lighter, a kind of peace I didn't expect. And I want to say this, especially if you've lost someone recently, or even a long time ago. If you ever feel like they're still around, if you hear their laugh in your head out of nowhere, or if you dream of them and wake up with a tear on your cheek, but a warmth in your heart, maybe it's not just a dream. Maybe it's a message, a reminder that you're still loved, that part of them is still walking beside you. And if that brings you a little peace, even for one night, then maybe that's the real meaning behind the dream. Not sorrow, not longing, but love, quiet, steady, eternal. If you've ever had a dream like the one I shared, where someone you love, someone you lost, comes back to you in the quiet of the night, I want you to know this: you are not alone. So many of us carry the weight of grief in silence, and we see overside, and we see the fact of what's going on here. What's going on in the causes. We go about our days, smiling when we need to, staying busy, doing our best. But then, out of nowhere, comes a dream, a moment, a feeling, and suddenly it's like they're standing right beside us again. Maybe you've had one of those dreams where your mother, your father, your spouse, a dear friend appears so vividly it takes your breath away. Maybe they said something. Maybe they just smiled. Maybe they didn't say a word, but somehow you knew exactly what they meant. And if you woke up with tears in your eyes or a strange sense of calm in your chest, that's okay. That's real. that's real, that matters. I truly believe those moments are gifts, not something to fear or push aside, but something to treasure. Whether they come from our hearts or from somewhere beyond what we can explain, they remind us of one simple truth. Love doesn't end. It may change. It may grow quiet. But it never truly disappears. And if you've had a dream like that, or even just a moment in your day when you felt someone's presence, I'd love for you to share it in the comments. Let's make this a space where we can tell those stories without judgment. A space where it's okay to say, I dreamed of my wife last night, or I still hear my father's laugh sometimes when the room is quiet. You never know who might need to hear your story today. So, wherever you are and whoever you're missing, I hope you know this. You're not alone in your longing. You're not crazy for dreaming. And you're not imagining the love that still lingers. Sometimes it's in the dream. Sometimes it's in the scent of their old sweater. And sometimes it's just a soft whisper that says, I'm still with you. Thank you for spending this time with me. And if this meant something to you, don't be shy. Share your heart below. I'll be reading. Right now, as I speak, the sun is just beginning to rise. Outside my window, that soft golden light is slipping through the curtains, casting quiet patterns on the floor, just like it used to on mornings when we'd sit at the kitchen table together, 2 mugs of coffee, no need for words, just the comfort of knowing the other person was there. I don't feel him every day, not always, not when I expect to. But sometimes, when the house is quiet, when the wind rustles the leaves outside, or when I catch a familiar scent that seems to come from nowhere, I do feel it. Not in a big dramatic way, but in the way a hand rests gently on your shoulder. In the way a memory rises with warmth instead of pain. It's like he's whispering, "You're doing okay. I'm still here." And that's something I've come to believe deeply. Love doesn't always end with goodbye. Sometimes it lingers. It shifts. It stays in different forms, through dreams, through memories, through the quiet presence we feel when we're standing alone but somehow not lonely. So, if you've lost someone you love, if your nights sometimes feel too long or your mornings too quiet, I hope you know this. You're not walking this path alone. And the love you shared, it hasn't gone anywhere. Maybe you feel it too. In a song, in a certain chair, in the way the light hits a photo on the wall, underscore. And maybe, just maybe, that's their way of saying, I never really left. Sometimes love says goodbye. And sometimes it says, I'm still here. Thank you for being here with me today. I hope this brought a bit of peace to your heart. And if it did, I'd be honored if you shared it with someone who might need it too. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself. And listen for those quiet whispers. They're never far away.